I'm going to show you 15 tips and tricks for Path of Exile 2 which will make your life much easier. I got lesser known keyboard shortcuts, tricks to improve your leveling experience and general tips. No matter if you're a veteran to the series, someone who came back to test out a new league, or you're completely new, I got something for you. Now, let's dive straight in. First, let's talk about some lesser known keyboard shortcuts which are really useful. So let's start with the NPCs. Usually if you want to interact with them, you go to them, you click in the window, for example, to buy an item or sell something. Or on Una, you can go here, buy and sell items or disenchant items. But there's a little trick. If you hold Control and left click on one of the NPCs, it will open one of their windows. For example, on Una, it will open the disenchant window. If you hold Alt and left click on her, it will open the other window. For example, the buy or sell window. And some NPCs even have 3 different things. Let's go to the hideout fast. Our seller Angie has 3 options. She has the currency exchange, the managed shop, or the buy or sell items. So when I hold Control, it will open the currency exchange. If I hold Alt, it will open the gamble area. And if you hold Control and Alt together while left clicking, it will open your shop. Oh, I got a bit of currency here. Nice! And there's one more thing you can do with that. So when you picked up a bit of loot, usually you have like these unidentified items, which you can use Scroll of Wisdoms for, but you know, there's the hooded one. He does it for free. Usually you click on him and then you go to identify items, but you can use the same trick here. Just hold Control, click on him, boom, it makes a little sound, it says 3 items identified and all of the items are identified. Pretty cool, right? Now let's move to the stash and check out some keyboard shortcuts there. So the first thing, let's go here. You don't have to drag and drop every single item that you don't want there. You can just hold Control and click the item. Boop, boop, boop. It instantly goes from your inventory to the stash and the other way around. This is a pretty neat way to clean up your inventory. The next tip is with your stacked currency items. If you shift click them, you can split them up in different stacks. Alright, tip number 2 has also to do with a stash. You can set affinities for each of your stash tab. Just right click the stash tab and then you can choose an affinity for it. For example, fragment, unique, flasks, gems, whatever. So affinities work like this. For example, here in my currency stash, I have the affinity currency, of course. So when I go to another of my stash tabs and I Control click my currency items, they will not go in here. They will directly go into that stash tab with the affinity. And like I said, you can do this with pretty much anything, depending on if you have a special tab for it or if you just want to use a normal tab for that. So here I'm Control clicking, it's not going here, it's going here. And if you want the item to be here for whatever reason, you can hold Shift and Control at the same time while clicking it, then it will appear here. Tip number 3. The most important thing that you need for a smooth leveling experience is a good weapon. Because a good weapon means more DPS, which means monsters die faster, which means you're happy. So always make sure to upgrade your weapon on a regular basis. If you don't loot one on the ground, that is good, you should always try and craft one. If you don't know how to craft items, I have a little guide here that shows you how to use your currencies to get a good weapon at some point. The question is though, what is a good weapon? So here's a little rough guideline so you understand which mods to look for on your weapon. If you're a martial weapon user, you always want to look out for either percentage damage, for example here 82% increased elemental damage with attacks, or here 108% increased physical damage, depending on your build of course, right? Or you want to look out for flat damage. This one also has like flat fire damage, flat lightning damage. This one has like flat physical damage. Even though the numbers seem small, they increase your damage by a lot, especially during leveling. This can make a difference between a 10-second boss fight or a 2-minute boss fight because it's just so much more damage. And if you're using caster weapons, you want to look out for these mods. For example here, increased lightning damage, like percentage increased damage or spell damage, fire damage, lightning damage or whatever. Or like plus level of all the spell skills or fire skills. And this will increase your damage by a lot. So always look out for that. Number 4. If you got a new weapon and you're not really sure how good it is, you can always check it roughly in-game. If you press G, it will open your skill window where you can put in your gems, but it also shows the DPS of your skills. And if you equip another weapon, you can check it out roughly. For example here, my bow shot does here 10,100 damage. If I equip the other bow, it's 9,600. Yeah, that's worse than my current one. For example, here the lightning arrow is 9100. If I equip the other one, it's 9800. Of course, this is not as detailed as Path of Building or other programs, but it gives you a rough idea. If you found that useful so far, hit the like button and drop a sub for future guides and videos. Tip number 5. Always check the vendors. They can have insanely good items, especially weapons. So whenever you're in town, go to the vendors and check what they have. You can even type here in the little search window what you're looking for. For example, if I look for cold damage, I can type it in and they're highlighted. Look, this one has cold damage, this one has cold damage, and so on. And an important thing to know is that vendors refresh their inventory every time you level up. So especially early game, they will have often different items, so it's always worth to check them out. Later on, this gets a bit more rare, but it still might help you. And if you still don't find anything good, you can always go for the good old gamba. Every town has a gambler, so you can go to buy and sell items and you can pay gold to get a random item. I would say don't waste your gold during leveling, but if you're really desperate and you need something good, it always can be something good. I mean, you know what? YOLO. Let's see what you will give here. Boom! A bit of physical damage and level of all projectile skills. I mean, better than nothing. Tip number 6, because we just spoke about gold. Whenever you loot items, you have 3 options. Either you sell them for gold, or you disenchant them, or you go to the salvage bench and salvage it. So ideally what I would suggest is pretty much always just sell it for gold. If you don't need specific crafting materials, especially if you're in solo self-found or something, but most of the time you just want to sell the items to the vendor. Yoink! I got it with gold. The only items you don't want to sell for gold are items with either some quality or sockets. So always make sure to pick them up and then go to the salvage bench and salvage them, because this will give you scraps and shards and blacksmithing stones, which you can use to improve your good armor in the future. Tip number 7. Let's talk about items that are not weapons and what you should look out for. So one of the most important stats is movement speed. Basically in any ARPG, movement speed makes you just run faster and clear everything faster, so it's just good. It just makes everything better. So always try and aim for some boots with movement speed. Like I said, you can go to the vendors and you can type in movement speed here and check out if they have something. It's always worth, because if you find some boots early with movement speed, it will make everything so much smoother. And the other thing you want to look out for is maximum life, ideally, and resistances. Especially early on, you want to stack life and you want to max out your resistances. When you press C, you will see your stats, and ideally you want to cap out fire, lightning and cold resistance as you go on. Like not in Act 1, but Act 2, Act 3, you should aim for that. This will make you so much more tanky and everything will be so much easier to do. Tip number 8. I will show you a trick how to get an easy 5-link gem for very cheap, and especially early on in a league, it can be a hassle to get one. So when you have a gem, for example, this is a 4-link and you want to increase the link size, you have to use like a great jeweler's orb, or in the end a perfect jeweler's orb, and they're usually pretty expensive. So if we check out jeweler's orb, great jeweler's orb, look, 75 exalted orbs for one. This can be, especially early on, very, very expensive. But there's a trick. You can use Val orbs, which are like only 1.5 exalted orb worth, and you can just gamba a bit. Whenever you use a Val orb on one of your gems, there's a chance to increase its level by a bit. Like all of these have 3 sockets, so there are 4 links. And let's try out. Didn't work, didn't work, didn't work. There we go. Like 1 out of 4, and boom, we got a cheap 5-link. So this is an awesome trick to get more power early on, especially if you don't have any currency. Later on, you want to use the normal jeweler's orbs because you can increase the quality, but especially early on, this is a huge power boost. Number 9. Did you know there is an XP penalty in Path of Exile? Yeah, if you're rushing too fast and your level is too low, you might lose up to half of your gained XP. Here's a little list you can check to always make sure that you reach a specific threshold. The too long didn't read is don't be more than 1 level below the XP penalty threshold, which is 3 + 1 per 16 level of character level. I know, but yeah, here's an example. So, if you're level 5 in a level 9 zone, you will get an XP penalty of 10.8%. If you're level 5 in a level 10 zone, you will get an XP penalty of 44.68%. This is insane, so always make sure that you're not too underleveled if you're one of the speedy boys that likes to rush into the next areas. Number 10. If you press U, you can open your world map. As you can see on the world map, there are always some symbols. And these are very important. These are like optional bosses or optional treasures. Here I can show it on a different character here. So when I press U, it will open the map and you will see like these camps. I didn't find this camp, I didn't find this one. Yeah, the one that I have across through them, you already found them. And here, for example, I didn't do that. The Orok poison. Yeah, it has a little plus. It will give me something permanent for my character. And every act has some of these. Here, for example, plus 30 to spirit. It even shows you what you got from it. This one gave me 10% cold resistance, so always make sure to hunt them down. Number 11. You can show your items in the chat. You can directly link them to either show off to friends or to send someone an offer or something. So when you open your chat, it has to be open, that's important. You mouse over one of your items and then you Control, Alt and left click it. Then it will be here in the chat. You can do this with multiple items, I think up to 3 or 4. And then when you press enter, it's in the chat. And the cool thing about this is when you open the chat again, you can mouse over the items. So this is a cool way to communicate what items you got or if someone needs something if you're playing in a group. Number 12. Speaking of items, you can get much more details when you hold Alt while hovering the item. For example, I hover it, I hold Alt, and then I see many more informations. For example, I see what are the prefixes, what are the suffixes, which tiers are them, and then there are like some of these underlined things. I can mouse over the attack and it tells me what it does. Or dexterity, what does dexterity do? Yeah, this is pretty cool. Also on the top right, it's a little bit hidden, there's a little pin symbol. So I can pin that item and now I can just move it around somewhere. Now if I mouse over something, I can see more things. For example, I want to know what is critical damage bonus. I can mouse over there, I can hold Alt again and pin that too. Good, it says it multiplies the damage by critical hits. What are critical hits? Same thing applies. You can move it a bit down, hold Alt, pin it, and so on. So this is really, really good if you don't know what the thing does. Blah, 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 blah. You get the point. You get a lot more information if you use the Alt key. Very important. Number 13. Remember when we press G, we can see our gems and our DPS? Yeah, next to that, there's a little arrow. If you click on these arrows, it will give you much more information about all the stuff that your attacks do. And here it applies the same. If it's underlined, you can mouse over it or hold Alt to pin stuff around. And one more thing that you can do here is you can use it with weapon sets. Because in your inventory, you have 2 weapon sets, right? And you change them around by default if you press X. For example, in this one I can have a staff, and on the other one I can have a shield. For example, with a shield I will use the shield charge while equipping the shield, and then when I attack again with the ice strike, I only do it with my weapon set 1, for example. Number 14. You really want a loot filter. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. This is so important. So when you go to options, game, you will have your item filters here, okay? And if you don't know how to set up an item filter, I have a video that explains everything. It's a bit too much for this video, but really make sure to get an item filter because you see so much loot if you don't have one and you just waste time if you pick everything up. So trust me on that one. And last but not least, number 15, which is connected to support gems. Usually when you right click on a support gem, you will see the gem cutting window and some support that are suggested from the game, like you can see here. But there are many more support gems in the game, so always make sure to click on all gems to see what the game actually has to offer. And these are a lot of them. You can also sort by color. If you just click on red, you see all the red ones, all the green ones, all the blue ones. And this way you can make sure to not miss out on a good support gem that might increase your damage by a lot. And finally, number 16, my hidden tip. Please enjoy the game. Explore it yourself. Don't get too focused on a build, okay? If you find something fun, play it, test it out. If it doesn't work out, it's a learning experience. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment or ask me live on twitch.tv/NinoMMO. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.